Story 1. In the quaint town of Maple Hollow, Easter was not just a holiday, it was an event, marked by the annual Easter egg hunt at the old Whitmore estate. The estate, with its sprawling gardens and a labyrinthine hedge maze, had stood empty for years, ever since the last of the Whitmores vanished without a trace. Local legend said the family had been cursed, doomed to disappear every generation, but to the kids of Maple Hollow, the Whitmore estate was simply the coolest place to have an Easter egg hunt. Kevin and his younger sister Abby had been looking forward to the hunt for weeks. Kevin, 12, with an insatiable appetite for adventure, and Abby, 10, with a wild imagination, were the first to arrive on Easter morning, eager to explore the estate's infamous maze. The sky was a clear blue, the air crisp and cool, a perfect day for an adventure. The maze entrance loomed before them, ivy crawling up its ancient stone walls, as if trying to keep intruders at bay. They hesitated for a moment, an unspoken fear passing between them. It was just a silly legend, Kevin reassured himself. Yet, as they stepped into the maze, a cold shadow seemed to fall over them, the laughter and chatter of the other children fading away behind them. They wandered the maze, turning left and right, finding hidden corners and dead ends, but no eggs. It wasn't long before they realized they were lost. The walls of the maze seemed to close in around them, the path twisting and turning in impossible ways. "It's like the maze is alive," Abby whispered, her voice trembling. Kevin tried to laugh it off. "Don't be silly, Abs. It's just a bunch of hedges." But then they heard a soft, sinister giggle echoing through the maze. It was followed by a voice sweet and chilling. Looking for eggs, or looking for secrets? They spun around, but there was no one there. Just the maze and its shadows. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, taunting them, leading them deeper into the maze. Panic set in as they ran, the voice always one step behind them, until they stumbled into a clearing they hadn't seen before. In the center was a giant, ornate Easter egg, painted in hues of black and crimson, unlike any they had ever seen. "Found you," the voice whispered, triumphant. The ground began to shake, and the egg cracked open, revealing a dark void inside. The air grew cold and shadows danced at the edge of their vision. From the void, a figure began to emerge, cloaked in darkness, its eyes glowing with malice. In that moment of terror, Kevin remembered the legend, the curse of the Whitmore family, doomed to guard the secret of the maze, a portal to a realm of darkness, sealed by the egg. With a surge of bravery, Kevin grabbed Abby's hand and they ran, not looking back, guided by a sudden ray of sunlight that pierced the maze. They burst out of the entrance, the estate and the maze behind them bathed in sunlight, once more, as if nothing had happened. No one believed their story, of course. It was just an Easter adventure, the adults said, laughing it off. But Kevin and Abby knew the truth. They had encountered the secret of the Whitmore estate, a secret guarded by the maze and the cursed egg, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of reality. From that Easter on, the maze was off limits. The egg hunt moved to the safety of the town park. But every year, as Easter approached, Kevin and Abby would feel a chill, remembering the voice in the maze and the egg that had almost swallowed them whole. Maple Hollow moved on, but some secrets and some legends refused to be forgotten. Story 2. In the heart of Appalachia, nestled among the sprawling mountains that have witnessed centuries of history, lies the small town of Havenbrook. It's a place that clings to tradition, where every Easter, the townsfolk gather to celebrate with a fervor that borders on the religious. This year, however, Easter brought more than painted eggs and chocolate bunnies to Havenbrook. It brought a chilling mystery that would unravel the fabric of the town itself. As dawn broke on Easter Sunday, a dense fog rolled in from the mountains, enveloping Havenbrook in a ghostly shroud. It was in this eerie half-light that Julia Saunders, a young teacher known for her kind heart and adventurous spirit, decided to take a shortcut through the woods to the community Easter egg hunt. The woods, a sprawling expanse of ancient trees and shadowed paths, were said to be haunted by the spirits of settlers who vanished without a trace centuries ago. But Julia, like many of her generation, dismissed such tales as superstition. The fog thickened as she ventured deeper, the familiar path becoming alien and menacing. Julia's unease grew with every step, the silence of the woods punctuated only by her own ragged breaths and the distant, muffled sounds of the town's festivities. It was then, in a clearing shrouded in mist, that she stumbled upon an old, abandoned church its dilapidated spire piercing the fog like a finger pointing an accusation at the gray sky. Curiosity, mingled with an inexplicable sense of dread, drew Julia closer. The church door, weathered and rotting, stood ajar, as if inviting her into its shadowy embrace. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of decay. Dust motes danced in the slivers of light that penetrated the boarded-up windows. At the altar, instead of a holy cross, hung a crude effigy made of twigs and animal bones, its empty eye sockets staring back at her. A sudden noise startled Julia, a soft, scraping sound that seemed to come from the bowels of the church. Heart pounding, she turned to flee, only to find her way barred by an elderly woman, her eyes milky white and her face twisted in a grotesque parody of a smile. "The egg must be fed," the woman hissed, her voice as dry as the autumn leaves that carpeted the floor of the forest. Before Julia could respond, the ground beneath the church began to rumble, and from the shadows behind the altar emerged a figure cloaked in darkness. It moved towards her with an unnatural gait, its features obscured by the gloom. Julia's mind raced, the legends and warnings of her childhood crashing over her like waves. The egg, a relic of a bygone era, whispered to be an ancient and malevolent force, was said to reside in Havenbrook, demanding a tribute each Easter to satiate its hunger. Those who failed to appease it vanished, becoming part of the legend themselves. Fueled by terror, Julia pushed past the old woman, her flight instinct taking over. She ran through the woods, the church and its dark denizens fading into the fog, as if they had never existed. When she burst onto the outskirts of Havenbrook, the fog lifted, and the sun broke through the clouds, casting the town in a serene, almost divine light. Julia told her tale, but in Havenbrook some secrets are better left unspoken. The older generation exchanged knowing looks, while the younger scoffed at what they deemed the delusions of a frightened girl. Yet, as Easter came and went, children began to whisper of shadows moving in the fog and of voices that called to them from the woods. In Havenbrook, the past is never truly gone, and the legend of the egg, once a mere story to frighten children, became a chilling reminder of the town's dark heritage. Julia left Havenbrook soon after, but the town remained, a place out of time, where each Easter brings not just joy and celebration but a palpable sense of dread, a reminder of the ancient, unspeakable pact that binds Havenbrook to the darkness lurking in the heart of the Appalachian woods. Story 3. In the sleepy town of Marrow's End, the Easter celebrations were the highlight of the year, eagerly anticipated by every resident. The town, wrapped in the lush embrace of the encircling forests, held a secret tradition, an Easter egg hunt, not just for the children but for the whole community, in the heart of the woods, where eggs were not the only things hidden. Tom Ackerman, a journalist seeking a fresh start after a tumultuous divorce, moved back to his hometown with his daughter, Lily, just before the Easter festivities. Eager to reconnect and build new memories, they joined the town's egg hunt, unaware of the chilling turn their lives were about to take. As Lily ventured deeper into the woods, driven by a competitive spirit and the lure of finding the golden egg, a local legend that promised a year of good luck, Tom followed, uneasy about the forest's eerie silence. The farther they went, the more the forest seemed to close in around them, mist weaving through the trees like ghostly fingers. Stumbling upon an ancient, forgotten path, Lily's excitement turned to horror when she discovered not an egg, but a small, crudely made doll buried under a pile of leaves. Its eyes, hollow and dark, seemed to pierce her soul. Meanwhile, Tom, catching up, felt a cold dread as he recognized the path, not from his childhood but from his nightmares. The legend of the golden egg was no mere tale, it was a centuries-old pact with a sinister force that dwelled in the forest, a force that demanded a tribute every Easter. The doll was a marker, a sign that the pact had been broken, and the force awakened. As night fell, Tom and Lily found themselves lost, the path vanished, and the woods alive with whispers. The hunt was no longer for eggs, but for them. Each step took them deeper into a nightmare, where the trees themselves seemed to hunger for their souls. In a desperate bid for survival, they uncovered the heart of the legend. The golden egg was real, but it was not a prize. It was a seal, a lock on the dark force that now hunted them. To escape, they had to find the egg and restore it to its hidden nest deep within the forest, a task that seemed impossible as the woods conjured horrors to thwart them. The climax came as they reached an ancient clearing, moonlight revealing a stone altar where the egg lay shattered. The Force, a shadowy specter with eyes like the void, emerged, its hunger palpable. In a moment of realization, Tom saw the truth: the egg could be restored, but only by a sacrifice of pure intent. With a father's love, he offered himself, resealing the pact and saving Lily. Lily, her father gone, emerged from the woods as dawn broke, forever changed. She held no golden egg, only the memory of her father's sacrifice. The town of Marrow's End awoke to Easter morning, unaware of the darkness that lurked just beyond their doors, held at bay by Tom's act of love. Marrow's End continued its celebrations, the legend of the golden egg now a tale of warning. And deep in the woods, the path remained hidden, waiting for the next soul brave or foolish enough to seek the truth behind the Easter hunt.